And I know you were a fan of MST3K growing up, but what was it, about the show that really spoke to you?
Well, my brother and I fought a lot, and we only had one TV. And the one thing that we wouldn't tear each other hairs out literally about was MST3K. My brother and I think our senses of humor were really formed by this show. And I mean, I think maybe it's underestimated, but seeing kids' letters in the episode was really super engaging. I have a 5-year old now, and I'm waiting a couple years, but I cannot wait to watch the old episodes with her and kind of introduce her to the MST3K world. So when I got involved in the show, it was a dream come true. I was able to
That
write a couple episodes with my brother, and so this is my third season, and I just can't thank Joel enough for keeping me in the family.
Yeah, that's so awesome. And when you're coming onto a project, you obviously have so much admiration for Joel. Is that almost intimidating in a way? How do you navigate that?
It certainly was intimidating at first. Whenever I'd hear him speak behind me, I thought he was on a TV. Like he has such a distinctive voice. But at a certain point, we've been working together for years now. And this season, I didn't actually get to work with Joel one on one because it was COVID. He was on the East Coast, I was on the West Coast. So my friendship with Jonah Ray got me through. He not only was the head writer for the episodes I wrote on, but he also directed me for half the episodes, and it was just like getting the band back together with me and Patton and Jonah, and we had such a good time. This season really is special.
So, what's the writing process like when it comes down to the riffing? Like, is it a lot of iteration and fine tuning the jokes?
For sure, there's a lot, and a lot that goes on after a writer like me would be involved. The head writer, there were two different writing rooms this season. Tim Ryder, also who directed the other half of the episodes, was the head writer for one room, and then I was in Jonah's room. He was the head writer there, and like we would just take sections, like 10 minutes each. We'd riff, we'd pitch out jokes, we laugh at other people's jokes, we laugh at our own, and then at the end of the day, we kind of everybody kind of picks the best that goes in, and then all of that goes off to Elliot Kalin and Joel and Matt McGinnis and all the people at the top, and they get to pick like what the final is. And that's it. It is a long process, but one that I think is done with a lot of joy. And thank goodness, Joel at the helm, always making sure that MST3K is consistent for 30 plus years now.
Yeah, that's what kind of really impressed me because as a fan, you're always excited to see a series come back, but there's always this tinge of like worriedness, like will this be the same? Will that magic still be there? But it really does, credit to Joel and everybody else, but it really does feel the same and it has that same sense of humor. So, as a fan yourself, how like just great was it seeing, this just work this way and the fans to also fully support it so much that they did not one but two Kickstarters.
I know, it really is fantastic. No, it's just overwhelming. It was, again, you're part of a legacy. Like this is a legacy. It's an institution. It's like being part of Star Wars or Star Trek, or it really is that level of institutional nerddom. And yeah, it's wonderful. And what I love about this season is that Netflix didn't pick us up, and the fans showed up and made. I think this is going to be the best season of the ones that I've been in, just because the scale is smaller, everything's more spontaneous. Joel and the crew have complete creative control, and when Jonah and I and Pat were on set, we would just be like, "Hey, I think we have a funnier joke here," or "Let's do this instead." And we had the flexibility, and the spontaneity was just it was just so much more fun in a way, to be able to do it this scale, because I think it actually fits MST3K better than having big shiny sets and all that stuff. So I really feel like the fans are going to feel like coming home for this season and meet a lot of new cast members who are wonderful.
Awesome. And I wanted to ask you about Pat and Oswald because this is your third season working together. How has your chemistry just grown over time? And you talked about spontaneity and working off each other. So how has that evolved?
I mean, Patton really set the bar. He's so experienced and so wonderful, and I was super intimidated to get when I was first on set, and he really our chemistry really got me through. And now, this season there was just a lack of caring, like not caring, but a lack of inhibition, and we just went goofy, wild places. And I have to tell you, it was just such a joy. He really is. an unsung hero of comedy, and he's everywhere and yet not enough places, and I just love him to death.
What I find so interesting about your character is that she's kind of trying to live up to this, the evil standards of her family, and it's not really a path that like she really decided for herself. So how do you really view, just Kinga and that element of her?
Yeah, I mean, she really is. She's trying to live up to something that she isn't, and I don't even know if anybody's actually putting that pressure on her. It seems to come from an internal place, and so this sort of manic, um, you know, emotional roller coaster that everybody around her goes. She's kind of like just a screwball heiress in a way from like the 1930s, and I love those characters so much. I think I definitely channel a little bit of that Carol Lombard energy into her. um, so yeah, she is somebody who's never going to get what she wants because she doesn't even know what she wants that will make her happy inside. But she'll try everything and put everybody through the ringer to get there.
During the Netflix seasons, we had a kind of a little bit of a Doctor Horrible reunion where you got to sing with Neil Patrick Harris. How surreal was that doing that scene?
It was amazing, and Bobby Lopez, who wrote the Frozen songs and many many other songs with his wife, like dream team. It was really incredible, and there were a lot of great cameos this season. Again, I got to work with Mary Jo Peele, which is like what, like there's a lot of old, old and new coming together. We got the new cat, the new Emily, the new host, like, and it's all melded together in a really awesome way. And I think it just kind of strengthens the family aspect of MST3K. There's going to be three different hosts, but Kinga is, in charge of forcing them to watch these movies, and I love it. It's just more the merrier.
Yeah, how awesome was it? I haven't seen the episodes with Emily yet, but how awesome was it that we have our first like female host subject
I think
with
it's great.
Emily?
I think it's amazing. And she's been on the tour with the other crew. So they're a whole entire, they've been touring the US they did the longest tour ever. And I really, unfortunately I didn't get to work on one with her yet, but I really hope that opportunity comes in the future.
Awesome. And what has it really meant for you to just be so embraced by the fans and for, you had a lot of big shoes you were filling as, the big evil mad scientist here.
Yeah, I can only hope that the fans like Kinga, or at least hate her in a good way. I definitely feel like there was a long lineage of Forrester evil that I needed to really nestle under. And working with Mary Jo like this season actually brings that kind of family aspect to the show and to me as a performer. Kind of getting to integrate with the Forrester lineage is really cool. And I can say that we had to shoot under COVID circumstances. It was a smaller scale, and I really feel like it benefited the show in so many ways. And I think fans are going to see that sort of organic wackiness, off the cuff wackiness that they're used to, even more so than the last two seasons.
Despite like the smaller scale, this is such a like ambitious undertaking with the Gizmoplex, which is so cool as it's both an on-screen, part of the story, but there's also the real implementation of this live theater experience that the fans will be able to get in. So how excited are you to take part in these events in the Gizmoplex?
I think it's going to be great. I can't wait to do one of the live stream events for sure. I mean, when Joel pitched it to me, I was like, "That's not going to work." And then seeing it come together and having it be so awesome, it is kind of like going to the movie theater and buying a ticket and having an experience. And I think it's so much more integral to the show spirit than just kind of dumping all the episodes at once. Like that works for some shows. Mystery Science Theater, we're already having hour and a half episodes, right? So it really, each episode is an event. And I'm excited that they're going to release the first three, and then everything is every 2 weeks after that. There's going to be new content and new stuff. And I really hope the community, it's a real community that forms around the Gizmoplex. And yeah, it's really cool. It's a great concept that is being pulled off well. And I was dubious, and now I'm in awe.
The series has covered so many great bad films. Is there any like films you would love to see given the MST3K treatment in the future of your own favorite? Like, do you have a favorite bad film?
Okay, I'm blanking on it. There's a Charlie Sheen movie where he's a car. and I can't remember if it's called Revenant or Charlie Sheen car movie. I mean, it is one of the worst movies I've. The Wraith. It is the worst movie I've ever seen. The Wraith is probably. It is so bad. I saw it on like late night, like not cable, but late night TV, like a couple years ago. I was like, Joel, you have to do this one. Um, so I would love that one just because it's so wacky. I just can't help but think that it would be pretty awesome to riff. So that would be my vote. But again, I don't get to choose the movies. Joel and Matt McGinnis and the crew do that, and I just am happy to write and perform anything they give me.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. And
Yeah, you
then
got to watch this movie. It's really bad.
I definitely do. And then, just speaking about your past career real quick, you had such a great run on Supernatural, but playing the same character like sparingly across 8 years, how was it like just re-inhabiting Charlie so many times?
The great thing is that you walk on set and you're home. If you're really part of a family, I've had the privilege to be on several sets like that. Eureka, Buffy, Supernatural, MST3K, my own sets, The Guild. Yeah, it really is. You don't really have to stretch a lot, like especially when the people in charge and the leads are just like so in the pocket. And so today is actually the 10th anniversary of Charlie Badbury, and I'm just so privileged to have played for her again for 8 years. I wish I could have played her every week, but it didn't turn out that way for me. And so I could just be grateful that's a character who showed up a couple times, two, three times a season, resonated with fans so much. That's all you care. That's really the point of being a performer is to like touch people in some way. And yeah, Charlie definitely did.
Yeah, and that show has such a rabid, crazy fan base that's so
Yeah.
passionate. So yeah, thank you so much for your time today,
Thanks a
Felicia.
lot. Yeah. Thanks for watching.